this is what we're going to be making today. I'll go through the file, building the file through the box's website, and then cutting it out in LightBurn is fairly simple. It should just be one, maybe two toolpaths if you want. And then obviously you'll have to cut it in multiple sections because it is a fairly large piece. But this is kind of what I got to organize my stuff, and I'll show you what I'm putting in it. Just these like decorations and stuff, these magnetic wall decorations, and it's just really easy for me to organize things this way. So here you go.
Alright, so now that I've showed you what we are going to make, let's go ahead and show you the website that I use, and I'll tell you a little bit about the settings and things like that for creating a box with a divider. So this is the website. I'll put a link to it in the description, and there are tons. You can see the pictures down at the bottom. There's a ton of different options here, but for this one we're going to use tray and drawer with inserts, and specifically type tray. I haven't figured out tray layout yet, but you can see how many different ones there are, and I can take requests on different videos if you want to see something specific. But here we go. So you just click on it, and this is the tray we're going to make, and we'll use type tray settings and settings for finger joints. These are all, they just add to it, and we can, again, I can do a video if you specifically want to see something. But let's talk about each of these settings. I've actually already got one filled out, but these are the reference, or this is the defaults, and this is what it will make if you just print this exact one. So let's go to one I already have laid out. Alright, so down here in type tray settings, the SX left to right, so that's this here, and this is telling us, I've changed this to 150 millimeters wide by 5 boxes. So in the one that I make, it'll be 5 boxes wide, and they'll be each box will be 150 millimeters. Y is this direction here, front to back, and I've made them 125 millimeters by 3 boxes, so 1, 2, and 3. And this will I'll show you exactly what I mean when we generate the file. The 150 here is how deep this box is going to be, so 150 millimeters. And HI I have not messed with, so I just leave this at 0 like it says. Outside is checked. That's just the outside measurements. The bottom edge, there are literally tons and tons of options. I leave this at parallel with the finger joints. I'm not 100%, but I think that just means that this would be at a different angle, or sometimes you could stack these, or but for this one we'll just leave it completely flat around the sides. Straight edge I leave as straight edge unless you wanted to stack it or something like that. Grip height, that's just going to leave you a hole so you can pick it up, and you can make that whatever size you want. Default settings down here. It is very important that you get this correct, otherwise your joints won't fit. So I measured them with calipers, and my plywood is 5.334 millimeters thick, and don't just assume that it's a quarter. When you buy 1/4 inch plywood or 1/8 inch plywood, that's exactly 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch, because it's definitely not. So I recommend measuring with a set of calipers. SVG is the type of file that LightBurn will read. So I always select SVG unless you wanted a PDF that'll give you just like a picture. DXF is another type of vector file, but SVG will hold the attribution. It'll hold the exact size that we make. So I recommend using SVG every time. I'm not 100% on what these other, they're just different types of files, but for our purposes, I would just use SVG. Tabs, I leave it 0 for the laser. If you were doing something with CNC, you'd probably want this tabs. They'll hold the part in place while you're cutting it out. You can label it, but it doesn't actually label it on this file. So print this reference rectangle. I'm not sure what you, if it did size it differently or wrong, you could just size it back so that this rectangle equals 100 millimeters, and you could get the size of all your parts to be perfect again. This burn is just accounting for a little bit of slop in the program. Cool. So that explains all of these, and I'll come out with like a PDF kind of. I'll highlight it and then point to what I'm actually referring to. Settings for finger joints is the next one that we're going to use here. 90 degrees. That's this angle here. I don't know a scenario where I would actually change that. Style, you can select rectangular or springs, and springs I think are going to be a flexible joint, and I don't know entirely why I would do that. So leave them rectangular. Surrounding spaces, I think that's referring to the space at the front and back of the box here, or what's left over anyway. Edge width, I leave at 1. That's a default value. I think that's referring to, so it's also, these numbers are multiples of this number. These are not actually in millimeters. They are multiples of this. It's very important that that you get this thickness correct, because so I leave it at 2 or 3. The default value is 2. I've changed it to 3, so it takes less time to cut out, and it's just not necessary to have that many. So the finger width is these are the fingers here. So I made it 3, so they'll be 15 millimeters each. The next is play. You don't really need it, but I found that 0.025 works for me. That'll just, you can apply some CA glue and it'll hold together just fine. But if you leave it at 0, then it's really, really tight fit, and I have trouble putting it together at that point. Space between the fingers is this, and these two numbers need to be, the space and finger need to be the same. They need to be exactly the same. Otherwise, they're not going to match up. Width of the finger holes, that's these here. And you leave it at 1, which is a multiple of this thickness here. And it will, yeah, that also needs to, so your finger, you could make it a little bit bigger if you wanted, I guess, but you've kind of already accounted for it in the play. So that's all of the settings that we're going to use. So there you go. And then now we're going to click generate, and it opens up this new window. And you can use control and then the mouse wheel to zoom out and see your whole picture here. So So this is what it's gonna give you, and we're gonna go ahead and right click, save as, and it'll open up, automatically saves it as a SVG. So I'll just type video and we save it. We'll go ahead and minimize this and open up LightBurn. And now we can import the file we just made. Cool. And obviously, so this is the size of the my laser bed. And obviously not all of that can fit on one. It's a pretty big piece, so I'll just, I'll take one at a time, or whatever can fit on my laser bed, and cut it out. But it's gonna take multiple tries, and the way I do it is, say I'll take that one and this one, and then the rest of this, for now, I'll just turn it to a different color that I don't need, and turn them off. And then we can go out and cut this piece out and take it to the laser, or take it to the laser and then cut it out. And then when that one's done, we open this back up, move this file, this piece over to the side, and we move the next pieces that we want. And cool. And then we can, oh, sorry, we need to ungroup these for now, sorry. Group, so we can, so I like to cut out the holes first, because if I don't, sometimes if the piece is bowed or something like that, then so I'll cut out the blue piece first, but I cut the holes out first so that if the piece is bowed, then the whole piece is still intact. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. But all these little pieces will fall through, and not the whole piece, because then it would probably throw off my laser or something. It would throw off the cut. This is the little finger hole I was telling you about. You can move that thing wherever you want. You just select it and move it. But yeah, and I go through after this. We'll talk about putting the box together. Cool. And then we go ahead and send that to the laser. Or actually, sorry, I'll send this to number 5 because we don't want it anymore. We'll turn off those. We'll cut this piece. That piece is done now. Go ahead and move that. And then we'll take these pieces. And then we can then cut these pieces out. Cool. And then, and then we'll send these, turn this one off, cut these out, and then we have all our pieces. Yeah, so let's see if there's anything I missed. Oh, this is the reference block. Say, so if, say, we accidentally made our piece, oh man, and you can't undo it or something like that, we can resize it and keep moving it until this piece equals 100 by 10. and then it'll be exactly what it was before. But we need to get it to exactly 100 by 10, but you get the idea. You kind of have to be playing with it a little bit. Cool. And now we have all our pieces cut out, and we can go and actually put our box together. Cool. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm open to suggestions for different videos. I hope you like that website. I wouldn't want to draw this thing. There's other widgets to use or other websites to use for boxes, but this one I think is the most customizable, and it works for me. Cool. I hope that helps.
Alright, so we've got all our pieces cut out, and now we are ready to assemble. I usually like to put this guy, this is the back of it or the bottom, whichever however you're setting it up. I've got these fingers fitting a little bit loose, but that's okay. Once it's all together, it's not gonna budge. You can add a little bit of glue to it, and you won't have any issues at all. Cool. So then I put these two long ones in, and then all of these short ones, I just slide in there. Tighter, probably a different piece of wood, to be honest. Just use all of this scrap sometimes. A little bit different, but they're working. There. And I think I'm missing a piece, but it's okay. Apparently, I forgot to cut one of my pieces out, but you get the idea. And then you have a little organizer, and I'll go ahead and throw some CA glue on these joints here on the outside. They won't be going anywhere. But yeah, easy way to organize all your stuff. And yeah, there you go. A bunch of little boxes. They're like, I think they're 150 millimeters deep, 150 millimeters wide, and 125 tall. And that was specifically because of the shelf, the size of the shelf that I have 4 that these are going to all go in. So, yeah, hope that helps y'all, and let me know if you